Our Incense Pavilion's competition is different from others. It's specifically divided into individual and team matches. The individual match allows you to showcase your strength and make a name for yourself. As long as there are no severe injuries or deaths during the fight, no one will interfere. The team match, however, consists of 5 members. Besides fighting together, I've heard that we'll also have to go to some dangerous places to complete missions. But regardless of whether you win the individual or team match, you'll gain access to the Dou Technique Pavilion deep within the Incense Pavilion, where you can seek out anything you need, Mu Feng said, his eyes gleaming with excitement. It was clear he was eager about the Dou Technique Pavilion. The Dou Technique Pavilion, Xiao Yan muttered softly. He was quite familiar with the layout of the Incense Pavilion. The Incense Pavilion was divided into the inner and outer pavilions. The inner pavilion focused on cultivating Dou Qi, while the outer pavilion emphasized literary and spiritual cultivation. Within the inner pavilion were the heaven, earth, and human halls, as well as the Dou Technique Pavilion, the competition grounds, the cultivation caves, the alchemy workshop, and the residences of the elders, forming the entire structure of the inner pavilion. As for the Dou Technique Pavilion, it housed countless advanced Dou techniques and cultivation methods, including the most profound techniques of the heaven, earth, and human halls. It's said that the heaven-shifting ruler, which no one from the human hall has ever successfully cultivated, is also stored there. That's a true sacred class Dou technique, Mu Feng said, barely able to contain his excitement. Heh, although the heaven-shifting ruler is powerful, no one has mastered it in thousands of years. There must be a reason for that, Xiao Yan smiled calmly, though he secretly felt a spark of interest toward the heaven-shifting ruler. After all, even his master, the Golden Dragon King, had praised it highly. I must obtain the heaven-shifting ruler, Xiao Yan thought to himself. The individual matches are already over, and the team matches will begin in a few days. Take this time to rest, Mu Yingying said, noticing a trace of fatigue in Xiao Yan's eyes. Xiao Yan responded softly and returned to his room. Should we have told him about those incredibly powerful individuals who participated in the individual matches? After all, they'll also be in the team competition, Lu Di asked, feeling uncertain. No need. After all, we'll be there with him, won't we? Little Li said with a calm smile. Let's head back and let him rest for a few days. With that, they all returned to their residences, sharing the same thought. Heh kid, it looks like you're doing well in the romance department, Heart Rock teased as soon as Xiao Yan entered his room. Enough with the jokes. Let's get serious, Xiao Yan said, ignoring Heart Rock's comments. That woman, Mu Yingying, she seems to possess a sacred flame as well, doesn't she? Heart Rock suddenly turned serious, his playful tone gone. Yes, but I haven't detected the presence of a sacred flame spirit within her. That's what's puzzling, Xiao Yan replied. Impossible. Every sacred flame has a sacred flame spirit, because we are the sacred flame, and the sacred flame is us, Heart Rock flatly denied. Then how could she? Xiao Yan fell into deep thought as he listened to Heart Rock's certainty. Since discovering that Mu Yingying possessed a sacred flame, Xiao Yan had been suspicious of her origins. After all, anyone who possessed a sacred flame couldn't possibly be ordinary. Based on my investigation, there are 2 possibilities, Heart Rock said in a low voice, his tone serious. What are the 2 possibilities? Xiao Yan asked eagerly. The first possibility is that the power of the sacred flame is too overwhelming for Mu Yingying's body to handle, so a powerful figure sealed it within her. Only when her strength grows can she gradually control the sacred flame. Each time the seal is lifted, it would have a significant impact on her. However, this method is extremely dangerous because the sacred flame remains sealed, and much of its power cannot be released. If she encounters extraterritorial evil beings or anyone with malicious intent, her situation would be perilous. But if the method succeeds, it will completely merge with the sacred flame spirit, making her the true master of the sacred flame. Heart Rock explained earnestly. So, there's such a secret, Xiao Yan nodded thoughtfully. What's the other possibility? Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask. Given how dangerous the first possibility sounded, it only made him more curious about Mu Yingying's sacred flame and her origins. The second possibility is so unbelievable that even I find it hard to accept, because all living things are born with their own spirit. Whether it's magical beasts, sacred flames, or even some sand, trees, and other creatures born through cultivation, they all have spirits. This process is known as rebirth cultivation, Heartrock explained, his voice growing even heavier. Rebirth cultivation? Xiao Yan was shocked. He had never heard of such a thing. Yes, rebirth cultivation, Heartrock confirmed. In other words, it's recultivation, he added. What exactly does that mean? Xiao Yan asked, noticing the turbulent emotions within Heartrock. This method is only applicable to non-human beings. Humans are the most remarkable of all living things. Not only did they develop Dou Qi, but they also pioneered soul cultivation as alchemists, eye techniques, and many other fields. They lead the way in so many areas of cultivation. While we, other beings, may have long lifespans, our strength progresses incredibly slowly. After breaking through to the Dou Xian level, it could take thousands of years to make any further advancements, and each breakthrough is accompanied by punishment from the laws of nature. Surviving such tribulations is nearly impossible. Humans, on the other hand, with their unique advantages, far surpass us in cultivation. That's why a small group of spirits came up with other ideas. After countless studies, these spirits developed a way to transform themselves into human form and cultivate like humans. Once a spirit breaks through to Dou Xian, they can choose to transform into a human for cultivation or continue their original spirit form. However, choosing to transform into a human means they lose their original appearance and power as a magical beast, and their Dou Xian strength will plummet to the level of a 1-star Dou Di. However, by cultivating as a human, they can avoid the deadly tribulations imposed by the laws of nature, and if they reach the level of a deity, they will achieve immortality. That's what we call rebirth cultivation. Many spirits and magical beasts that choose this path find themselves vulnerable, as their Dou Xian level beast blood and magic cores are coveted by humans. One wrong step, and they're courting death, Heartrock explained. Are you saying that Mu Yingying was originally the spirit of a sacred flame and only transformed into a human through rebirth cultivation? A bold thought began to take shape in Xiao Yan's mind. Though shocked, Xiao Yan gradually calmed down and carefully considered Mu Yingying's every action. Yet no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't link her to rebirth cultivation. It's not impossible, but the likelihood is extremely small, Heartrock said cautiously. If it were me, I wouldn't want to undergo rebirth cultivation into a human either. The rarity of sacred flame power is something coveted by countless humans. Heartrock shook his head as he spoke. Between the two possibilities, I'm more inclined to believe the first, Xiao Yan said with a bitter smile, finding it hard to accept this overwhelming information. After all, he had always had a fairly good relationship with Mu Yingying. In the Xinling royal pool, Mu Yingying had used her sacred flame power to save Xiao Yan's life. Otherwise, just the people from the royal pool alone would have been enough to kill him. By the way, Heartrock, do you know why the heavenly flame power in my body can't merge with your sacred flame? I always feel like something is missing from the heavenly flame compared to your sacred flame, Xiao Yan continued, choosing to set aside his concerns about Mu Yingying's identity for now, given that she had been of great help to him. Now that you mention it, it does feel strange. You have a lot of flame attributes inside your body. From what I can sense alone, you've absorbed and refined quite a few different kinds. That's odd. I've never heard of anyone being able to harbor so many flames at once, Heartrock said, perplexed. The flames I have are called heavenly flames on the Dou Qi continent. There are 22 of them in total, each one an extremely violent force born from heaven and earth. And the top-ranked flame is a fusion of all 22 heavenly flames, Xiao Yan explained to Heartrock. You fused all 22 flames? Heartrock asked, a strange expression on his face. Yes, by fusing the heavenly flames, I gained an even greater power within me, Xiao Yan said. Let me see the essence of your flame, Heartrock suddenly asked, his tone filled with an intense eagerness. Xiao Yan hesitated for a moment but complied, knowing that after devouring the sacred flame, any strange moves from Heartrock could be dangerous for both of them. As I thought, Heartrock's eyes gleamed with a sudden, greedy light as he gazed at the flame essence Xiao Yan summoned. He could sense a familiar aura within it. It was almost identical to that of the sacred flame. "What's going on?" Xiao Yan asked, becoming wary of Heart Rock's reaction. He could feel a sense of unease growing inside him. "After fusing so many flames, has anything else appeared within you?" Heart Rock continued to question. "Anything else?" Xiao Yan was confused for a moment by the question. "Little E?" Suddenly, a thought flashed in Xiao Yan's mind, and he exclaimed. When he fused all the heavenly flames, the resulting power did indeed end up within Little E. At that time, Little E was merely the flame spirit of the purifying lotus demon flame. But after Xiao Yan fused all the flame essences, Little E underwent a series of transformations, eventually becoming a fire spirit with boundless potential. That spirit, which can rival the strength of a human 8-star Dou D, was born from your fusion of these flames? Heart Rock asked with suspicion. "You could say that," Xiao Yan said, beginning to piece things together in his mind. "In my view, the flames inside you aren't just heavenly flames. They're the embryo of a sacred flame," Heart Rock said, his voice thundering like a bolt of lightning around Xiao Yan. "What?" Xiao Yan was shocked, his eyes narrowing with surprise. "A sacred flame embryo?" he repeated. "Yes. After fusing those dozens of so-called heavenly flames, the new flame within you is still far weaker than my sacred flame. The fundamental reason for this is that it's only a sacred flame embryo. In order for this sacred flame embryo to become a true sacred flame, it needs more power. Only by continuously accumulating strength can this flame grow powerful enough. Once it has undergone the tempering of heaven's laws, it will truly transform into a sacred flame," Heart Rock said calmly. "In other words, I need to strengthen this heavenly flame? And more importantly, undergo tribulation?" Xiao Yan asked, still struggling to digest the overwhelming information Heart Rock had just provided. "Yes, exactly. You need to strengthen it and face the tribulation. I sense the power of the various heavenly flames within you. Each individual heavenly flame is far too weak. Although they have a faint resemblance to a sacred flame, it's almost negligible. To put it simply, one of your heavenly flames is equivalent to only 1% of a sacred flame's power. Even after fusing dozens of them, the resulting new flame is only about 1/10 as strong as a true sacred flame. Understand now?" Heart Rock explained. "How do I go about strengthening this heavenly flame?" Xiao Yan asked after processing the explanation. He realized that the heavenly flames he had obtained on the Dou Qi continent were essentially fragments of the sacred flame, but far too weak. Strengthening the heavenly flame inside you is actually quite simple. Have you forgotten about Little E? Heart Rock reminded him. Little E? Xiao Yan echoed, a realization dawning on him. Although I'm not sure why Little E can attach himself to you and provide such powerful support, it's something no sacred flame spirit should be capable of. It seems he's undergone some kind of mutation. But since Little E was born from your fusion of heavenly flames, I'm certain he's the spirit of your sacred flame embryo. Heart Rock declared with confidence. That's impossible. Little E was just a flame spirit on the Dou Qi continent. How could he? Xiao Yan muttered in confusion. Despite Little Yi's ever-increasing strength, Xiao Yan had always been able to take him back into his body, just like he had done with Heart Rock. Take him back into your body? That's not possible anymore. The pride of a sacred flame wouldn't allow two sacred flame spirits to coexist within one human body. If you don't believe me, try it, Heart Rock said confidently, watching Xiao Yan with an amused expression. Return. Xiao Yan's heart tightened, and he immediately activated the heavenly flame power within him, shouting out with a powerful voice. Nothing happened after his shout ended. What's going on? Why can't Little E return to my body? Xiao Yan opened his eyes, a sense of unease rising in him. This is normal. Fireheart Heavenly Rock is a true sacred flame, while your heavenly flame power is still just an embryo. Furthermore, I sense that Little E is not just the spirit of a sacred flame, but also the fire spirit you mentioned earlier. Sacred flame spirits have fixed powers that only grow or weaken depending on the strength of their owners. But have you noticed? Even after you devoured the sacred flame and your strength surged, Li didn't show any signs of growth. That suggests that the sacred flame spirit may have undergone some other form of mutation. I suspect there's some deeper connection between the two of you, which is why this strange phenomenon is occurring, Heart Rock remarked. So, if I want to strengthen the heavenly flame, I'll need little E to keep growing stronger? And then, after that, I'll undergo tribulation to transform the heavenly flame into a true sacred flame. Xiao Yan realized with sudden clarity. Yes, exactly. Heart Rock smiled, nodding in affirmation. So if a human body can't host two sacred flames, does that mean your previous idea of devouring other sacred flames is out of the question? Xiao Yan asked, his heart growing wary as he looked at Heart Rock. That's not entirely true. After all, the flame mantra is something that even we sacred flames have only heard of. Few have actually cultivated it, Heart Rock said with some hesitation. But I vaguely recall that the flame mantra contains some obscure records that suggest it might be possible to house multiple sacred flames. How do you know about the flame mantra? Xiao Yan asked, his suspicion deepening. The secrets of the flame mantra were known to very few people. How could Heart Rock be aware of them? Heh. Those memories have been dormant in me for a long time. I can only remember fragments, Heart Rock chuckled. Dormant? Xiao Yan asked, confused. Your strength and memory are incomplete due to the suppression of my power. Only when you reach the 9-star Dou D level will you be able to fully unleash my strength. At that point, when the sacred flame emerges, none shall stand against you. Heart Rock said with a touch of arrogance. I see, Xiao Yan shook his head. By the way, from now on, I won't be showing up casually, and I won't be able to help you in battles. Also, you should refrain from using the power of the sacred flame too much. Your current strength is too weak. As for the blood demon golden chi inside you, I'll help suppress it, but in 3 years at most, you'll have to deal with it, or it will cause endless trouble, Heart Rock warned. Understood, Xiao Yan responded quietly. Someone's coming. And don't mention anything we've just discussed. The next moment, Heart Rock quickly retreated into Xiao Yan's body and disappeared. A soft knock echoed through the room. Coming, Xiao Yan called out, tidying up his room before heading to the door. Why is it you? Xiao Yan asked as he opened the door, revealing Mu Yingying's slender figure. I have something I'd like to talk to you about, Mu Yingying said, glancing around to ensure no one was nearby before speaking. Come inside. It's cold out, Xiao Yan said. The door closed softly, and the quiet night resumed. So, what is it? Xiao Yan asked, pouring a cup of tea as Mu Yingying sat down. It's nothing too difficult. I just need you to help me with something, Mu Yingying said, hesitating slightly, clearly not used to asking for favors. What is it? Xiao Yan asked, feeling somewhat sympathetic toward Mu Yingying. After all, they were from the same sect, and she had always been kind, making her someone worthy of friendship. I need to undergo a tribulation. A 6-star Dou D tribulation. Her calm voice hit Xiao Yan like a sledgehammer. What? Are you crazy? Xiao Yan exclaimed in shock. Although his strength had surged to the late stage of the 6-star Dou D after devouring the sacred flame, he hadn't experienced the tribulation. Even so, from what he had heard, the Dou D tribulation was terrifying. Without thorough preparation, a single misstep could lead to instant death. I'm not crazy. I need the power, Mu Yingying said through gritted teeth, her voice heavy with determination. No way. Your strength as a peak 5-star Dou D has only just stabilized. Forcing the tribulation now will only lead to failure. Xiao Yan rejected her outright, without any room for compromise. Don't forget, we have the mysterious power of the Xianling royal pool within us. Mu Yingying's tone softened as she tried to persuade Xiao Yan. That still doesn't change anything. That kind of power is unpredictable. If something goes wrong, it could seriously damage your foundation. It's far too dangerous. Xiao Yan shook his head, firmly refusing. The reason I came to you is because you're the only one I can ask. Other than my brother, I've never asked anyone for help. Mu Yingying's voice turned hoarse, but there was a stubborn resolve in her words. Forcing the tribulation will only bring you endless suffering. Xiao Yan's frustration flared, as Mu Yingying's insistence seemed reckless. I have no choice. I can't wait any longer, Mu Yingying replied, her determination unwavering. No means no, Xiao Yan shouted, slamming his teacup down in anger. 3 days later, at the rear mountain, Mu Yingying said, ignoring Xiao Yan's outburst. She calmly raised the teacup, drank its contents in one go, and turned to leave. The tea is good, she said before walking past Xiao Yan and exiting the room. Damn it! What's gotten into Mu Yingying? Isn't she afraid of dying by forcing such a breakthrough? Xiao Yan muttered in exasperation. I think Mu Yingying has quite a few secrets, Heart Rock's voice echoed within Xiao Yan after she left. And it seems like she has a bit of a thing for you. Why not give it a shot? Heart Rock teased. Stop messing around. What on earth is Mu Yingying thinking? Xiao Yan muttered as he watched her fading figure. The sacred flame he had devoured stirred inside him, almost as if in fear. The sacred flame within her likely ranks above yours. Although I'm not sure what she's planning, she's not wrong. She's capable of facing the tribulation now, and her chances of success are quite high. Heart Rock's voice slowly resonated in Xiao Yan's mind. Is it because of the sacred flame? Xiao Yan asked, suspecting the cause. Most likely. The Fireheart Heavenly Rock and the sacred flame inside her have started to resonate. If she doesn't break through, she won't be able to suppress the power within her, Heart Rock explained. So, it's highly likely she falls under the first scenario we discussed? Xiao Yan asked. I can't be sure. The first possibility is more likely, but I wouldn't rule out the second, Heart Rock said. Xiao Yan rolled his eyes in exasperation. You should focus on your own situation first. You've barely scratched the surface of the sacred flame's power. Take this time to fully master the sacred flame space. It will greatly enhance your strength, Heart Rock suggested slyly. Sacred flame space? But using the sacred flame space will expose the fact that I possess a sacred flame, won't it? Xiao Yan was confused by Heart Rock's suggestion. The sacred flame space is similar to a domain. Most people won't even recognize it as a sacred flame space. They'll just think it's an early form of a domain at best. Did you think we sacred flames were called the kings of fire for nothing? Heart Rock said disdainfully. As he spoke, an overwhelming aura surged out. All right. Xiao Yan finally felt reassured. He sat cross-legged and began to carefully feel the sacred flame's power and the sacred flame space within him. Inside his Dou Xian, the flame beasts and sacred flame crystal stood quietly. In his sea of spirit, the core inscriptions of his soul hovered steadily. My current strength is at the late stage of the 6-star Dou Di. With the sacred flame and my enhanced soul power, as well as my status as a second-rank Imperial-class alchemist, I should have no problem dealing with some 7-star Dou Di powerhouses, Xiao Yan murmured, looking thoughtfully into the distance. Cai Lin, I never expected that after arriving on the Dou Di continent, your strength would advance so rapidly that you'd reach the Dou Xian level. Though I'm sure you paid a price for it, if anything happens to you, I, Xiao Yan, will be the first to act. No one dares to mess with Xiao Yan's woman. Xiao Yan's voice rang out, filled with an imposing aura that swept through the room. Heh, this kid actually cultivated the flame mantra. Who knows whether that'll be a blessing or a curse, Heart Rock muttered. Back in the day, the expert who cultivated the flame mantra ultimately met a tragic end at the hands of the extraterritorial evil clan. Heart Rock's voice trailed off within Xiao Yan, falling into silence once more. The only sound left in the small wooden cabin was Xiao Yan's quiet focus on mastering his newfound power. As dawn broke, sunlight spilled across the earth, heralding the start of a new day. Xiao Yan, you're up early. What are you up to? Mu Feng greeted Xiao Yan cheerfully as he spotted him first thing in the morning. Heh, I just came out of the desert mountain range, so I thought I'd head to the training grounds to test my skills. I also want to check out the other strong fighters in our Incense Pavilion. It'll help to have a better grasp of things before the team competition in a few days, Xiao Yan said, not bothering to hide his intentions. Well, that's perfect. I know the place well, and I'll take you there. I've been wanting to see how strong you've become too. Mu Feng grinned widely. Let's go. On the way, I'll tell you about the results of the individual matches for the Heaven, Earth, In human halls at the Incense Pavilion, Xiao Yan said, leading the way. When we were training in the desert mountain range, we gained quite a bit and our strength skyrocketed. But after 2 years, the desert mountain range began to sink and disappear, so we had no choice but to leave. After returning to the Incense Pavilion, we went into seclusion, and when we emerged, our strength had grown considerably. By the time we finished, the individual competition at the Incense Pavilion had already begun. After considering it, we decided to skip the individual matches. The strength of the earth and heaven halls was undeniably overwhelming, and without you, we didn't feel like participating, Mu Feng explained as they walked. How strong are the people from the earth and heaven halls? Xiao Yan asked, feeling a warmth in his heart after hearing about their decision. We in the human hall are the weakest. In fact, you're probably the strongest among us, Mu Feng said with a bitter smile. What? Just me? You mean there's no one in the human hall stronger than a 6-star Dou Di? Xiao Yan asked in surprise, stopping in his tracks and looking at Mu Feng. It's not quite like that. Many of the disciples in the human hall came specifically for the heaven-shifting ruler. Once they failed to obtain it, they left to seek other opportunities to break through. So besides the 5 of us, the senior brothers all left early, Mu Feng explained. So, it's just the 5 of us representing the human hall this time? Xiao Yan's eyes narrowed slightly. Exactly. That's why during the individual matches, Mu Suzi suggested we wait for you to join us for the team competition, Mu Feng said with a helpless smile. I see, Xiao Yan chuckled to himself, finding the situation a bit amusing. What was going on with the human hall, having so few disciples? Mu Suzi has always said he values quality over quantity, Mu Feng added quickly. As for the powerhouses from the Earth Hall, they have at least 5 6-star Dou Dis, not to mention several who are at the peak of the 5-star Dou Di level. It's even rumored that the Earth Hall's senior disciple has already reached the 7-star Dou Di level, Mu Feng said with some difficulty. 5 6-star Dou Dis? 1 7-star Dou Di? Xiao Yan frowned at the news. Although he hadn't known much about the Earth Hall's strength before, he knew they were stronger than the human hall. But he never imagined they'd be this powerful. 5 6-star Dou Dis, 1 7-star Dou Di. This was a force that could rival some medium-sized clans. What about the Heaven Hall? Xiao Yan couldn't help but ask. If the Earth Hall was this terrifying, what about the Heaven Hall? As for the Heaven Hall, only one person participated in the individual competition this time, but he narrowly lost to the Earth Hall's second disciple, Mu Feng replied. Who was the Heaven Hall's representative? Xiao Yan asked. It was surprising to hear that a disciple from the Heaven Hall lost to someone from the Earth Hall. This seemed almost unbelievable. The Heaven Hall's representative was someone named Ling Xin, a powerful fighter who had reached the late stage of the 6-star Dou Di. But the Earth Hall's second disciple, Zhu Yuan, had already reached the peak of the 6-star Dou Di level, and during the battle, Zhu Yuan barely managed to win with just a few techniques. Everyone knew, though, that if Zhu Yuan weren't slightly stronger than Ling Xin, he wouldn't have won at all, Mu Feng said, his voice filled with admiration. Battles like these always stirred a man's fighting spirit. Ling Xin from the Heaven Hall, late stage 6-star Dou Di, and Zhu Yuan from the Earth Hall, peak 6-star Dou Di. Both of them will be tough to deal with, Xiao Yan muttered, rubbing his temples. By the way, how many disciples are there in the Heaven Hall? After a brief pause, Xiao Yan asked. The Heaven Hall reportedly only has 7 disciples, and from its founding until now, the number has never changed, Mu Feng said thoughtfully. Is that so? Seems like there's a secret behind the Heaven Hall. A sly smile crept across Xiao Yan's face as he realized the Heaven Hall was definitely no ordinary place. We've arrived. As the two chatted, they came upon a large sign. Training ground. The 3 bold characters appeared before them in a grand, flowing script. 5th brother, I'm telling you, that Xiao Yan from the human hall is back, and he's so arrogant. A beautiful woman inside the training ground was complaining to a man who was practicing martial arts. Xiao Yan? What about him? The man, dressed in casual clothes with a clean and handsome face, wiped the sweat from his brow and smiled, his punches and kicks causing faint tremors in the air. He. As soon as he returned, he brazenly flew into the sky above the domain of scorched heavens. There's a clear rule that no one is allowed to fly over that area. Second brother sent Yiqing to bring him to the Earth Hall for questioning, but Xiao Yan was so insolent that he beat Yiqing black and blue, the woman said, clearly indignant. Heh, it's been years since anyone's dared to provoke you. Doesn't he know who you are? The man didn't stop his practice, delivering a few more powerful punches and kicks before stopping. He wiped his sweat, smiling at the woman. As her senior brother, he knew her personality well, and her story confirmed his suspicions. Fifth brother, you've always been the one who takes care of me. You have to help me get even. The woman, who was none other than Ling Xin, said, her voice brimming with resentment. You want me to help you get even? Why not tell the hall master? Why come to me instead? The man smiled gently, showing no sign of reprimand, only affection. Everyone in the Earth Hall knew that Ling Xin was the hall master's daughter. Only someone with a death wish would dare to provoke this little troublemaker. Father hasn't been around for the past few days, Ling Xin said, her tone displeased as her eyes flickered slightly. So, it's that Xiao Yan from the human hall who disappeared for 5 years? Fifth brother Wang Chen chuckled, then released a terrifying aura. Yes, it's him. He's too arrogant and needs to be taught a lesson, Ling Xin said, clenching her fists tightly. Let's go. I'll come with you and see what kind of person this Xiao Yan from the human hall is, Wang Chen said, brushing off the dust on his shoulder before speaking. Wait a moment, fifth brother. That looks like Xiao Yan over there, Ling Xin suddenly exclaimed, her eyes widening as she raised her hand to point in a specific direction. Damn, I knew I couldn't avoid this. Xiao Yan cursed under his breath. Is that him? Wang Chen followed Ling Xin's hand and saw a man carrying a heavy ruler on his back, accompanied by a somewhat lean man who exuded an eerie aura. Heh, seems I've been targeted after all, Xiao Yan sighed, shaking his head helplessly as he noticed their gazes on him. Well, if I can't avoid it, I might as well face it. Coming back to the Incense Pavilion, my goal is the heaven-shifting ruler. But before that, I need to make an example out of someone. However, judging by this girl's status, it seems she's no ordinary person. First, it was Yiqing, a peak 5-star Dou D. Now, it's this 6-star Dou D. Just who is this woman? Xiao Yan thought to himself as he locked eyes with Wang Chen. Buzz. The moment Xiao Yan and Wang Chen's gazes met, a fierce tension sparked between them, causing the surrounding disciples to retreat cautiously. Hey, isn't that Wang Chen from the Earth Hall and the Little Witch? One of the disciples in the training ground said in jest. Who have they set their sights on this time? More disciples gathered, intrigued by the brewing confrontation, as if they were about to witness an entertaining show. So, you're the Xiao Yan from the human hall? Wang Chen's deep voice was laced with strong Dou Qi pressure, directly pressing down on Xiao Yan. Humph! Xiao Yan lightly stomped his foot, instantly shattering the sound wave created by the Dou Qi. Rumor has it you took first place in the points plundering competition and even killed the twin ghost emperors. Is that true? Wang Chen asked again, visibly surprised when Xiao Yan easily dismantled his small test. Based on his first impression, Wang Chen estimated that Xiao Yan's strength was only around the peak of the 5-star Dou D level. Even if he was hiding his true strength, the best he could be was a peak 5-star Dou D. In contrast, 6-star Dou Dis had already undergone the Dou D tribulation, giving them the force of life and death within their bodies, an insurmountable advantage over a 5-star Dou D. Unless there's another Xiao Yan in the Incense Pavilion, that would be me, Xiao Yan shrugged. Thanks to the mysterious suppression of the ancient ruler of heavenly flames, he could conceal his true strength at will. Unless someone was far stronger than him, they wouldn't be able to sense his real power. This guy's aura feels strange. Though he's trying hard to conceal it, there's a purifying, sacred feel to his flames. How curious. Among the crowd, a man watched Xiao Yan with a puzzled expression, mumbling to himself. His identity was special. If the Earth or Human Hall Masters were present, they would immediately recognize him as the eldest brother of the 7 disciples from the Heaven Hall, though few people knew him due to the Heaven Hall's reclusive nature. I heard from junior sister that you recklessly flew into the domain of scorched heavens. What do you have to say for yourself? Wang Chen continued, showing no leniency toward Xiao Yan. If I said it was an accident, I doubt senior brother would believe me, Xiao Yan responded calmly, showing no surprise. Xiao Yan, this is the 5th senior brother of the Earth Hall. It's said that his strength has already reached the mid-stage of the 6-star Dou Di. Mu Feng quickly whispered beside him, urging caution. Originally, Mu Feng had only intended to guide Xiao Yan to the training grounds, following Mu Suzi's instructions. If anything went wrong with Xiao Yan, Mu Feng would be in serious trouble. Relax, I can handle it. Didn't you say that the Earth Hall disciples aren't too friendly toward those from the Human Hall? Well, let's start with Wang Chen and take a little interest back, Xiao Yan replied nonchalantly before locking eyes with Wang Chen once more. Wang Chen's physique, with its solid muscles, indicated that he was a strength-type fighter, and Xiao Yan mentally sized him up. Junior brother, you have quite a sense of humor. But whether it was intentional or not, since you entered the forbidden area, there must be consequences. After all, the Incense Pavilion has always been strict with rewards and punishments, Wang Chen said with a slow smile. He had been in a foul mood after losing in the individual matches, and now that Xiao Yan had shown up, he might as well vent his frustration. Hehe, don't let Xiao Yan's unimpressive strength fool you. I heard he disappeared for 5 years after soaking in the Xianling Royal Pool. No one knows where he went during that time, but 5 years is plenty of time to accomplish a lot. And I have to say, his aura doesn't seem weak. To remain unfazed under Wang Chen's 6-star Dou Di pressure, he must have some hidden strength. Still, Wang Chen's no pushover. He's a bona fide mid-stage 6-star Dou Di, while Xiao Yan, though strong, might not be able to match him. The surrounding disciples murmured. Xiao Yan, don't say I'm bullying you. If you come with me to the Earth Hall and explain why you entered the domain of scorched heavens, we might let the matter slide. But if you refuse, I'll have no choice but to invite you back myself. Wang Chen's tone turned cold, emphasizing the word invite with a hint of menace. Heh, as I said, it was an accident. Are you really going to make such a big deal out of it? Xiao Yan replied fearlessly, meeting Wang Chen's threat head-on. Ha ha ha, Xiao Yan has a point. We're all disciples of the Incense Pavilion, and the domain of scorched heavens exists to protect the pavilion. It's not unusual for a disciple to enter it by mistake. The fact that Xiao Yan made it out unscathed is impressive in itself, said the figure from the Heaven Hall, his voice carrying through the crowd. Heh, you don't understand. This guy's messed with Wang Chen, and that's not going to end well for him. After all, Wang Chen is a genuine mid-stage 6-star Dou Di. Someone from the crowd responded disdainfully. I wouldn't be so sure. It seems to me that Wang Chen might be the one in for a rough time. The Heaven Hall disciple smirked, keeping his eyes on the impending clash between Xiao Yan and Wang Chen. You, slick talker. Let me show you what respect for your senior brother looks like, and I'll personally escort you back. Wang Chen snapped, the rising chatter from the crowd stoking his anger. Senior brother, be careful. Xiao Yan's flame seemed peculiar, Ling Xin warned, though she was pleased deep down. Despite her joy, she felt a chill as she recalled their previous encounter. Even in that brief clash, Ling Xin had sensed an overwhelming pressure from Xiao Yan. Don't worry, he's just a brat, Wang Chen said with a reassuring smile toward Ling Xin before turning his attention to Xiao Yan, his eyes burning with a fierce desire for battle. Today, in this training ground, before all our junior brothers, I, Wang Chen of the Earth Hall, challenge Xiao Yan of the Human Hall. Xiao Yan, do you dare face me in battle? Wang Chen's voice rang out, filled with an overwhelming sense of superiority as he stared at Xiao Yan. I wouldn't miss it, Xiao Yan replied, stepping forward with a calm smile, though the smile carried a dangerous edge.